The moment Trevor Whitmore's finger hit the delete button, I felt my pulse steady. Not from fear, from certainty. He thought he was destroying the only backup that kept our $400 million database running. The fail-safe that I and only I had maintained for 3 years. What he didn't know was that I had another backup, a hidden one, and in exactly 13 hours, I was going to use it to destroy him. But first, I had to crash the entire system myself. Let me show you how a new hire tried to steal my job, and how I made him the prime suspect in a crisis I orchestrated. Oh, my name is Audrey Castellano. For 3 years, I was Senior Database Administrator at Meridian Analytics, a tech firm managing financial prediction software for Fortune 500 clients. $400 million in daily transactions flowed through systems I built and maintained. They never crashed. Not once. That was my job. My pride. Then we hired Trevor Whitmore as Junior Database Administrator. 26 years old. MBA from somewhere expensive. Suit that cost more than my rent. Perfect handshake that lingered too long. Our boss, Richard Conway, introduced him at the all-hands with enthusiasm I'd never heard directed at me. Trevor comes from Summit Consulting with outstanding recommendations. He's going to help us scale to the next level. I'd been requesting a junior admin for 18 months. I didn't picture someone Richard immediately invited to lunch. I pictured someone who'd actually learn the systems. Trevor's first day shadowing me, I showed him the core infrastructure. Every client transaction flows through these servers, I explained. We maintain 3 backups: cloud, local server, and my personal encrypted backup that runs every 6 hours. Trevor typed notes. Why the personal backup? Fail safe. Cloud backup. Failed during a storm once. Local server corrupted during a power surge. The personal backup saved us both times. Smart. Something in his tone felt off, like he was filing it away. 2 weeks later, I overheard him in Richard's office. Honestly think the architecture is outdated. With my Summit experience, I could redesign everything. Audrey's done fine, but she's limited by her technical background. Trevor had been here 3 weeks. He'd crashed a test server twice because he didn't read documentation. And he was telling our boss I was the problem. A client reported minor database slowdown. Standard high traffic issue. I'd already scheduled an optimization for the weekend. Trevor emailed Richard first. Notice performance issues today. I've identified the bottleneck and can implement a fix if Audrey is too busy. Richard, please do. Copy Audrey. Trevor's fix broke indexing on 2 client accounts. I spent 4 hours repairing it after he left. Next morning, he smiled apologetically. Still learning the quirks of your system. Your system. Like it was a mess he'd inherited. Worse came 2 weeks later. I'd written a script automating client data migration. Reduced 2 days of work to 20 minutes. Presented it to Richard a month prior. He said it was interesting and moved on. Trevor presented the exact same script in a team meeting. Word for word. Variable names unchanged. I've been working on this automation tool, he announced, displaying my code. Should save significant time. Richard leaned forward. Excellent work, Trevor. How long did this take? Couple weeks of late nights. I sat there, unable to speak. He'd copied my script from the shared drive and claimed it as his own. When I tried to interject, Richard cut me off. Let Trevor finish, Audrey. I went back to my desk and opened a blank document. Date, time, incident, evidence. I started recording everything. Trevor started arriving early, staying late, volunteering for my projects. Richard called him proactive and leadership material. My performance reviews, stellar for 3 years, suddenly included notes about communication gaps and resistance to collaboration. I started keeping my phone's voice recorder running during office hours. Our state required two-party consent for private conversations. But the break room, the open office, public spaces, perfectly legal. Oh, then Trevor suggested eliminating my personal backup system. It's redundant, he said in a meeting. We have cloud and local. Audrey's personal backup is just inefficiency. That backup has saved us twice, I said evenly. 3 years ago. We don't need training wheels anymore. Richard looked thoughtful. Trevor has a point. Audrey, write up a plan to phase it out. I could have fought, could have explained exactly why that backup mattered. Instead, I said, I'll put something together. Because I just realized what Trevor was doing. He wasn't improving efficiency. He was eliminating the one system only I controlled. The one thing that made me irreplaceable. He was trying to make me obsolete. Oh, and I knew exactly how to trap him. Oh, I documented everything. Every email where Trevor took credit for my work. Screenshots of my code he presented as his. Timestamps proving I'd created solutions before he discovered them. I saved the Slack message where he told another employee, Audrey's been coasting for years. Company just hasn't realized it yet. I recorded him in the break room, telling a contractor friend. Just need to wait until she's on PTO. Delete the backup she's not supposed to have. Document it as security cleanup, make her look negligent. Richard's already losing faith. One more screw up and I'm in. But I needed more than evidence of credit stealing. I needed him to make a mistake, so catastrophic Richard couldn't ignore it. So I gave him what he wanted. I wrote the proposal to eliminate my personal backup, made it look reluctant but reasonable, included Trevor's justifications. Richard approved it in 2 days. Good work being a team player, Audrey. The backup was officially decommissioned, except I didn't delete it. I removed everyone's access except mine and buried it in invisible system directories. Then I created a second backup, encrypted, hidden in a location Trevor would never find. And I waited. 2 weeks after the backup was eliminated, I started praising the change in meetings. Trevor was right. The redundancy was overkill. Systems are cleaner now. Trevor soaked up the validation, positioned himself as modernization lead. Then I left documentation about the supposedly deleted backup in a shared folder. Made it look like an oversight, an old file I'd forgotten to remove. The documentation explained exactly where the backup was stored, how to access it, and how to delete it. I checked access logs daily. Day 3. Trevor opened the file. Read for 14 minutes. Day 5. He accessed the backup location. Day 7. He contacted an outside consultant about database security. I knew his plan. Delete my backup, the one that shouldn't exist, and position it as a security vulnerability I'd negligently left active. Make me look incompetent. Get me fired. So I made it easy. I mentioned to Richard I'd be on PTO Friday. Family wedding. Unreachable for 24 hours. Trevor's eyes lit up. Thursday before my PTO, I stayed late. Made sure Trevor saw me. Leave at 8 p.m., exhausted. Then I drove around the block, parked 3 streets away, and walked back. I went to the 4th floor conference room, empty, dark, sight line to the server room, and waited. Trevor returned at 10:47 p.m. I watched through the window as he swiped into the server room. Stanford hoodie, laptop, confident. He sat at the backup terminal, pulled up the command interface, located my personal backup system, typed the deletion command, hesitated, then hit enter. 3 years of backup data. Gone. He checked twice, cleared the logs, missed the redundant logging system I'd built specifically for this, then left looking satisfied. I waited 30 minutes. Then I went home, set my alarm for 6 a.m., and smiled for the first time in 6 months. I didn't go to any wedding. Friday morning, 6:15 a.m., I confirmed the deletion in the access logs. Trevor's keycard, his user ID, timestamp 10:51 p.m. Perfect. At 11:23 a.m., I logged into the disaster recovery testing system I'd built 2 years ago. It was designed to simulate catastrophic failures, corrupted updates, server crashes, data corruption. I'd used it 4 times before with Richard's authorization to test our backup protocols. I'd never used it without authorization. I pulled up the production database, selected the controlled crash protocol, the one that mimicked a cloud provider corruption error perfectly. My finger hovered over execute. This was the line. Once I crossed it, there was no going back. If I was wrong about my evidence, if Trevor talked his way out, I'd be fired for crashing production. But if I was right, Trevor would learn exactly why that backup mattered. I hit execute. The crash propagated in 90 seconds. Red alerts cascaded across the monitoring dashboard. Every client system failing simultaneously. Then my phone rang. Richard. I let it ring 4 times before answering. Audrey, I know you're at a wedding, but we have a crisis. Catastrophic database failure. Both backups failed. We need your personal backup system. Richard, we eliminated that 6 weeks ago. Trevor's modernization plan. Remember? Silence. What? The personal backup. We decommissioned it. You approved the proposal. Audrey, please tell me there's still a copy somewhere. There was. Let me remote in and check. I made him wait 15 minutes. Let the panic build. Richard, someone deleted the backup last night at 10:51 p.m. Permanently. I can see it in the hidden access logs. Who? I sent the log file. Trevor's credentials. The deletion timestamp. Trevor. Richard called Trevor in at 2 p.m. I drove back early and arrived at 2:45. The executive team filled the main conference room. Trevor sat at one end, pale. Richard was pacing. Walk me through what you were doing in the server room at 10:51 p.m. last night. Trevor blinked. I was doing routine maintenance. Routine maintenance that involved deleting Audrey's backup? That system was supposed to be decommissioned. It was a security vulnerability. I opened my laptop, pulled up documentation. The system was decommissioned from production, I said quietly. I maintained a personal encrypted copy as insurance. It wasn't part of official infrastructure, so it wasn't a security risk. It was a safety net. Insurance we desperately needed, Richard said, glaring at Trevor. She wasn't supposed to still have it. The proposal eliminated redundancy in the official backup chain. It didn't require me to delete personal archives. That would be like asking you to delete your work files. Trevor's face went red. You tricked me. No. You assumed you understood systems you'd spent 6 months ignoring. Then you deleted something that wasn't yours without asking. Richard turned to me. Can you restore from your backup? I paused. Let the moment breathe. Yes, I have a secondary backup Trevor didn't know about. But I'm going to make you wait 3 days first. Richard blinked. What? Because that's what it would cost if I didn't have a backup. I want contractors brought in. I want invoices. I want a paper trail showing exactly what Trevor's sabotage nearly cost this company. Then I'll restore everything, and Trevor will have $340,000 crisis on his permanent record. The evidence. Trevor stood up. This is insane. You're blaming me for following protocol. I pulled up my second screen, showed the Slack message where he'd called me dead weight, the emails where he'd stolen credit for my scripts, the performance reviews where he'd undermined me. This wasn't about security. This was about making me look incompetent so you could take my position. You can't prove. I played the audio recording. Trevor's voice, clear and unmistakable, from 2 weeks prior in the break room. Just wait until she's on PTO. Delete the backup, document it as security cleanup, make her look negligent. Richard's losing faith already. One more screw up and I'm in. Contractor's voice. Man, that's cold. Trevor, that's business. Oh. Richard's expression shifted from anger to disgust. You sabotaged our backup systems to frame a colleague during a crisis that could cost us millions. I didn't know there'd be a crisis. No, I said softly. You didn't, but I did. Everyone turned to look at me. Oh. I triggered the crash at 11:23 a.m. using the disaster recovery testing protocol I built for exactly this purpose. It's designed to simulate catastrophic failures so we can test backup systems. Richard went pale. You crashed production? I crashed it in a controlled way that I knew I could recover from. If we had the backup, we did, until someone deleted it to advance his career. Oh, I created a crisis to prove why that backup mattered, and to show exactly what happens when someone sabotages critical infrastructure for personal gain. The room was silent. The crash is reversible. The damage is minimal. But the $340,000 in recovery costs? That's what it would have been if Trevor had succeeded. If I hadn't kept a second backup he didn't know about. I looked at Trevor. You wanted to prove I was obsolete. Instead, you proved why I'm not. Richard fired Trevor immediately. Security escorted him out. I watched through the conference room glass as he packed his laptop, his Stanford hoodie, the expensive pen he'd bought to look important. He looked at me once. Not angry, not defiant, just small. Oh, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt tired. Tired of being invisible until something broke. Tired of watching loud incompetence get promoted while quiet competence got questioned. But I felt certain. Certain I'd never let someone like Trevor make me doubt my value again. The crisis took 3 days to resolve. I could have restored everything in 3 hours, but I let the contractor invoices pile up, let the executives sweat, let the paper trail build. When I finally restored the systems, every file intact, Richard called me into his office. I owe you an apology. I let someone undermine you for months because he was charismatic and had an MBA. I should have trusted the person who kept this place running for 3 years. I didn't respond. I'm promoting you to database director. 40% raise. Full authority to hire and structure your team. I want it in writing, I said, and veto power on all new hires. Done. Oh, and Audrey, about the unauthorized crash. I met his eyes. It was a controlled disaster recovery test that revealed critical security vulnerabilities in our backup protocols. I'd say it was worth the educational value. Richard almost smiled. Agreed. Let's never mention it again. Oh, I rebuilt the database team from scratch. 3 people who wanted to learn systems, not climb ladders. 3 months in, a vendor pitched us an AI-powered backup solution that would eliminate human error. The sales guy looked at my team. Your current admin is doing her best, but human-managed backups are a liability. My junior admin, Keisha, cut him off. Our admin prevented a $2 million data lost 6 months ago because she maintained backups your AI would have eliminated. You want to pitch liability? Start with your product. The vendor left. Keisha looked at me. Was that okay? I smiled. That was perfect. Oh, Trevor? Last I heard, he's doing IT support for a dentist's office in Ohio. His LinkedIn scrubbed of all Meridian mentions. Someone left a review on his profile. Deleted critical infrastructure during crisis. Would not recommend. I didn't write it, but I didn't report it either. As for me, still here. Still keeping systems running. Still the person nobody notices until something breaks. Except now, when something breaks, everyone knows who to trust. Oh, Here's what I learned. Competence is invisible until it's gone. People will always underestimate the quiet ones who just do the work. They'll promote the loud ones, the charismatic ones, the ones who talk about disruption and modernization. Oh, until the system crashes. Trevor thought he could delete me as easily as he deleted that backup. Make me disappear with one clever move. Oh, but here's the thing about good administrators. We don't just maintain one backup. We maintain 3, 4, 5, hidden in places you'd never think to look. And when you finally need us, we're already 3 steps ahead, watching you destroy yourself with the crisis we built.